We're now ready to move on to the next stage, and that stage is the media process. Now the media process is in itself two stages. The first stage is to do the current project you see now and render that into a movie. This is known as the biometric scanner project, and if it passes this test, then I will proceed and do the GAMEANIME. Now the whole point of this is, why go into the editor, delve into lots of things about the editor if it can't build the product that you want? I'll now walk through the various screens here to show to you what I'm trying to look for. Now this is what I call the testboard dashboard, and it will tell me if a bottleneck occurred and what caused it, which is the burden by. Another thing I'll be looking at would be the ratio of CPU usage to GPU, because I want to see it use the GPU, and I also want to know what's loaded on the CPU at any one time while all this process is going on. Now, as you can see down here, the GPU will be the HD Graphics 4000, which is part of the i7 chip, which is on this platform, which is the ASUS ET2300. Now, this area is telling me what is being used of the GPU. So I'll be using this, and I'll be looking at this with great interest because I want to know if they efficiently use the CPU. Now, as I mentioned, the CPU is an i7. The i7 is a quad core. Each core has 2 threads. A thread is known as a logical CPU. So we've got 8 logical CPUs here, and I want to see a balance across these CPUs. That way it tells me how efficient the coding is from this application, and this is something Cyberlink do boast about, so I want to see if that's true. The next thing I want to monitor is, what are the resources consumed by the editor compared to the resources that are consumed by the platform as a whole? Because you've got to bear in mind that all these sensors that I'm using consume some form of resources, and what I want to know is how efficient is PowerDirector in rendering a project. So that's the whole point of this. How efficient is it, and does it produce the quality product that I want? So that's the point of the Process Explorer. It can help me see what is being consumed. And let's not forget, the star of the show is, in this case, PowerDirector version 12 Ultra Edition. Now that we've baselined on the screen and what we're going to be testing first, let's look at the media process. The first thing is, when you actually pick a preset, you need to tweak it. You could see from here the bitrate is going to be 8 meg, and the GOT pattern, it looks quite of a mouthful, but really you could have reduced this by just saying it is in fact a GOT pattern showing an I, a B, and a P frame. Now the I frame, if you didn't know, is a non-compressed frame, and then B and P are 2 different types of compressions, which your best bet is to look at other sections of my website to have that explained. So we're starting the process, and bearing in mind it is using the HD 4000. What a speed here. I had barely enough time to see what's going on, but as you can see, the logical CPUs are quite balanced, and essentially speaking, it just blitzed this 13 seconds. That is a phenomenal speed. Much faster than the reference application, which is Movie Edit Pro 2014. So when I analyzed it, I was really upset to find that the container is not streamable, but the fact that it had the HRD data and it screamed through this test, I didn't feel as if it was any issue to see what it was like doing a GAMEANIME. Yes, I wasn't going to expect it to pass the container test, but I was more than just mildly curious at an application that just literally blitzed through the very first stage. So that being said, let's look at it. The GAMEANIME is 2 hours 55 minutes, which is right, or 3 hours, and its prediction is it's going to do this in 54 minutes. I mean, hold the phone. I mean, it's 54 minutes. Let's put this in context. I don't have time to find it in a piece or do my yoga exercise or anything like that, or even do any gaming that I might want to do while it's doing the process, which I have been doing on some of these. I mean, 54 minutes. I can even stay here and watch this. I mean, thumbs thumbs up to that, and it proves a point. The HD 4000 something, there's in computer terms it's called the principality of locality, and the HD 4000 is within the core. So what we're looking at here is the core. This is the CPU, and those logical CPUs are not being burdened at all, and the IOPS are not high. So we're talking about the GPU, the HD 4000 with the i7 doing most of the work. It's really blitzing this test. And look at it. This is when it's doing the GPU, it's looking at the NVIDIA. The NVIDIA is not even on. And you can tell it's the PowerDirector, the PDR12, that's the process, and you could see from here this is the HD 4000 and it's doing the job. And if you look at the CPUs, these are the logical CPUs or the quad core, and they're not really on most of the others, they're in the 90s and the 80s, and here they're just working. It's a pleasant sight to see. This is HPC at its best, where you don't even know you've got high performance computing. So good job for Cyberlink. This is pleasant to see. And there's the engines. The two that are really doing the work, they have to be the HD 4000, and they are doing the work. And bearing in mind that Sony Movie Studio was saying 9 hours, and it only got 77% through, and this is just burning the rubber. And you've got to look at this. This is a selling point that Cyberlink and many of the others don't make, is the saving for you. And blimey, 45 minutes. It completed the entire project in 45 minutes. Yes, I'm headbanging because this could be so much better. Cyberlink are saying that this is good for YouTube, for other things on the web, and yet you need to have a streamable container. But without doubt, it is so efficient with the process. It's just such a conflicting, it's a sad case. I really would have liked it better. Brilliant in one side, bad in another.